I believe every human being was born to be great. I believe no human being wants to be mediocre.
All I can say about Jay is I've known him for 35 years, and for 4.5 decades, he has been the go-to guy to optimize your business.
Jay is one of the top people on the planet who knows how to maximize a business and its reach to his customer.
You're watching Strategic Edge with Jay Abraham, exclusively on ASBN.
Jay Abraham, welcome back to the Strategic Edge. Thank you so much for joining us.
What a pleasure. Thank you.
Our viewers are getting so much out of this series and so much out of your content and the information that you're sharing with us here on the show. So thanks again. Let's talk today about borrowing ideas from other industries. I know you work with 1,000+ industries out there. What mindset or thinking framework do you use to immediately identify breakthrough opportunities in any business?
I always take your question, and I have the probably annoying habit of modifying it and doing a little preemptive intervention. So why don't I tell you before I answer the question, my career and how I discovered the answer, and then I'll answer it. So I think I told you in one of the other interviews, I got started very young. I had no formal training. The only people that would give me opportunity were crazy entrepreneurs who would let me eat what I killed, meaning you only get paid on performance. And I would always do 5 or 6 things, always from different industries. After about 10 different industry exposures, I realized that people in this industry didn't have a clue how this industry thought, marketed, strategized, distributed, anything. And I was able to take common as dirt concepts from these industries I'd been in, combine them, take it to this, and they would blow up. IC Hot blew up, Entrepreneur blew up, the newsletter businesses blew up. And everybody thought I was brilliant, and I was really, frankly, nothing more than the one-eyed man in the land of the blind. I mean, when I very first got started, I was a plebeian journeyman trainee in the mail order business. But the mail order business was very disciplined back in the 70s and the 80s. They understood testing, variability, allowable acquisition costs, lifetime value, risk reversal, bonusing, back end, upsell, downsell before anyone else. And I just took it from direct mail and marketing and mail order to brick and mortar, and everyone thought I was brilliant. So these two things converged, and I realized that true breakthroughs don't come from within the industry, they come from without. And that was a realization, but it was just a aha with no substance. Then I created a concept I called funnel vision versus tunnel vision. But then I started doing the studies. And if you ask me to do it, I think we have a whole volume of 500 examples that I researched. But I started realizing that some of the greatest transformative early and late breakthroughs came from other industries. Fiber optics transformed telecommunication. Didn't come from telecommunication, came from aerospace and was borrowed. Federal Express created a whole industry by borrowing what's called the hub and spoke check clearing process that the Federal Reserve Bank does, so they get checks cleared at 9 a.m. so people can't bounce checks. So when I realized all these things, I was on a mission to learn it all. So and I created 2 parallel universes. One is calling borrowing from billions, and the other is called modeling for millions. Billions, millions. And so the concept is 2 things, and I find this really amazing. So you're a SMB somewhere. Let's say you're operating in a city or a region or a market. First thing I would say is who's killing it somewhere else? Do you know what they're doing? Have you studied their marketing? Have you contacted them? And if they don't want to basically come into your market, ask if you could license their advertising, their model, their sales training? No. I say, what other related industries are there? So let's say you are an electrical product distributor. Okay, so you do electrical product distributing, see who else is bigger, better, how they sell, how they do it, but you'd also say, well, maybe if you get a plumbing supplier, let's see what they do. And so I start within derivatives of the industry, then I go wild.
Right.
Then I go wild. Then I say, okay, how is this industry revenue generating? I call this revenue generation, revenue system optimization. You look at what they're doing and then you question it.
Yeah.
You say, what else, how many other ways could you be doing it?
Right.
And it's sort of an iterative and a what do you call it when it keeps evolving? I don't know what the right word would be, but that's sort of the process I use. I don't know if that's too abstract.
No. It's exactly right. So when you look at these businesses and you look at these other industries, it must be somewhat frustrating. First of all, because you're realizing that these industries can learn from one another.
Absolutely.
But oftentimes, as you know, entrepreneurs don't look outside their industries for this.
But
right?
I'll tell you a process I used to do, and it was profoundly illustrative, transformative, and to me fascinating because I always like to experiment. So I used to do these very, very expensive and very long 86-hour seminars. They would take 5-6 days.
Yeah.
And they were broken into 90-minute components which would address one key principle.
Okay.
3 ways to grow a business, power Parthenon, strategy preeminence, 9 drivers of I have all these concepts. At the end of that, I would stop and we would spend a half hour having the approximate 800 people who were attending go around their tables and each share one very scenario-specific interpretive application that each person had come up with. Now, this is very interesting. If 800 people hear the same thing, you're going to have 800 different interpretations because nobody has the same history,
Right.
nobody has the same values, nobody lived the same life,
Sure.
nobody even defines things the same way. So then we would have each table vote on the most universal insight that one of the members had that would be applicable to anybody in any industry. And then they would stand up and they would have a chairman who would present at each table. And that was pretty profound because you'd get maybe 30 different interpretations that were the culmination of 800 interpretations. And then I would do another round, I called it fractal learning. And then I'd ask people what they learned from that and to come up with new ideas. And it was very iterative, but very exponential in learning. But I think you need to force yourself to travel outside your comfort zone.
Yeah.
If you think about it,
For sure.
everybody that's watching has traveled some way. They've either traveled outside their city, their state, the continent, the
Right.
world, whatever. Every time you travel somewhere else, it broadens your mind. You see different geographies,
Yep. No doubt.
topographies,
No doubt. Yep.
religious mores. You see different clothing, different temperature, everything.
That's right.
And so traveling outside your business, your industry does the same. I try to get people to do things that will shock them into expansive awareness. When we used to do the seminars, we would go to the bookstores when they existed and we'd buy, if it was some of our smaller seminars would have 1,000 people, the bigger ones had less because they're more expensive, and we'd buy 1,000 out of as like closeout books that were nonfiction. So they could be anything from hobbies, business, sports, it didn't matter. Then after about the second day of a 5-day event, when we got to know you, my staff would get to know you, we'd find out what your hobbies are. You like boating, you like sports.
Golf. Yeah.
So I would give you a book or a magazine on macrame or cake decorating, and I'd make you go for 2 hours, read either 2 chapters or 2 articles, and come back to your table and find at least one actual application that you could extrapolate, that you could adapt or adopt.
Sure.
And everybody did.
Yeah.
And that was pretty profound.
Yeah.
Because it took you out of your comfort zone.
right.
I try to get people, if they live like here, I'm using the word like, which I don't like. If you lived in Atlanta, I would say go every weekend or evening when you have time to any of a number of hotels that have events going on. I'm not talking about parties, I'm talking about they have seminars, they have workshops, they have
networking.
Yep, and walk them and ask if you can sit in and observe because it'll blow your mind.
Yeah.
Go to all your friends who do not work in the same industry or the same capacity, interview them, and then ask them to give you all the junk mail they get, all the forward all the ads they see, and it'll blow your mind.
Yeah.
We talked in another session about grow or die.
Yeah.
Growing or dying linear is sort of dying.
Yeah.
But growing or dying in an expansive way where you transcend the limitations of your very, very restrictive industry is where breakthroughs come from.
Absolutely.
I don't know if that explains it.
It does, but entrepreneurs, if they've got a service, they're building a widget, they're doing their thing, they're not open to that often, right? To say, let's look at other
They're not
industries.
open
Let's
to
do
it at all,
the things
by
that
and
you were
large,
just
which
talking about.
I am benevolently incredulous all the time at how hard people make the concept of explosive growth, because it's really, as I said, it's much easier than you think.
Right. Everyone's sitting on this gold mine, but they just
It's already
haven't-
there.
Right.
I mean,
Right.
and when you are able to do things, I mean, when you think about it, some of these other industries, some of these other companies in your industry outside your competitive market, they've spent years, millions perfecting these things. It is the most hilarious thing. I have a group that I work with in Japan. There's about 3,500 SMBs, not dissimilar to the people that use our platform here. And every time they come up with a question about their business, I say, have you gone to the United States? Have you looked at the websites of the top performing? Have you basically modeled any of their things? Have you called any of them and seen? I mean, you could knock them off, I guess, but if you wanted to have integrity, you could pay them a nominal amount to use their stuff. No. Will you do that? Yes. Do they do it? No. And I'm thinking, why recreate the wheel if somebody else has figured it out at enormous effort, experimentation, and expense?
That's right.
It's ludicrous.
That's right. That's right. And we can learn so much from other industries. I mean, there's it's never ending, right?
See,
I mean, what you just described, entrepreneurs and SMBs should be doing this on an ongoing basis.
Yeah, I mean, you're looking for breakthroughs, but breakthroughs don't have to be tectonic. They don't have to be dangerous and costly.
Right.
You can get a breakthrough in every facet, whether it's revenue generation, operation, cash flow management, inventory management. I mean, we have a friend, and I want to get him onto your platform, and he is the world authority on operational efficiency. He can teach any entrepreneur and any entrepreneur's team how to add 5 hours a week to their available productive time to use for higher and better applications. Well, if you had 10 or 20 or 50 or even 3 people and you got an extra 5 hours a week for each one of them that could be used for higher yielding things, all things being equal in a competitive world, that's an advantage.
No question
That's
about
only
it.
one little thing.
Right.
Pretty profound.
Yeah, there's no question about it. And yet SMBs, to your point, are sitting on this, and the execution of it is very, very poor.
I have a quote, and I haven't used it for years. Either you work harder for your business, or you figure out how to make the business work harder for you.
Yeah.
It's one or the other.
Right.
Why not build an asset that is going to multiply your net worth, all things being equal, while you're multiplying your income?
Sure. How many times have we seen a situation where somebody's got a business for 10, 15 years, they sell the business to somebody that's brand new now to that business, and the business explodes?
Yeah.
And that, that first owner says, how did that happen? I was doing $1 million a year, $2 million a year. That guy's doing $5 million a year with the same business.
Do you want to know why people aren't great entrepreneurs?
Yes.
Well, first of all, they don't really know what greatness looks like in terms of conduct, performance, mindset, actions, and they don't go to any effort to try to model people that are great in different capacities, whether it's strategy, business model, leadership, innovation. If they do, they don't know how to implement and actuate it themselves. If they get that far, usually the first time you do anything, it's very much like a little baby learning to walk, talk, poop, eat, ride a bike. Well, a little baby isn't going to ride a bike, but a little bit older one.
Sure.
They're terrible.
Right.
And when most people who've never entered a world of unfamiliarity have a embarrassing setback, they they recoil right back to
Right.
status quo.
Right.
But greatness I believe that every human being is programmed in their DNA to want to be great. You don't want to be a pathetic worker. You don't want to be a mediocre CEO leader. You don't want to basically be a salesperson who dramatically underperforms your capacity. You don't come on Monday morning and say to yourself, "Self, I'm going to work my ass off and I'm going to underperform and be mediocre."
That's right.
But most people are, and that's so ironic to me when if you can extricate yourself, no one else is going to do it for
That's
you.
right.
I mean, I can
That's right.
talk to you, they can hear it, it can be
right.
inspiring, but no one else will extricate you from the morass than you.
That's right. That's right.
And there's that wonderful phrase, it is yours to lose.
That's right.
Always.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. You're either your own worst enemy or your own greatest
Yeah.
asset, right?
And no one else is going to do it for you. You
That's
can
right.
have all the mentors, you can engage me, but if you don't do it, if it doesn't shift your worldview, your business worldview, it's moot.
So the companies that we see out there and the leaders that we see leading these companies, they've actually done it. They're the ones that you look at and you say, okay, you know, this particular company's knocking the cover off the ball. The Starbucks story. I mean, it's a coffee shop at the end of the day, right?
They're
They've done a great
obsessed
job
with
with it.
learning from everybody.
Right.
If you're not constantly opening your mind internally and externally
Yeah.
for breakthrough thinking,
Yep.
and that if you don't also realize that the breakthroughs most people think about are complex, expensive. Well, let me give you a perspective. Everyone for years was talking about this 10x moonshot. 10x moonshot, 10x moonshot. I can tell you people, but I won't name names. But what they didn't tell you is the implication is it's a top line activity. The other implication is it was technology driven. So technology driven, big breakthrough. You're going to have to find experts who are very expensive, who've never worked in your industry, never worked together. You're going to have to find the right initiative to make sure that it's going to get you somewhere. It's going to take longer, cost more. It's going to be like literally building your own house.
Right.
You're going to have to fund it either from cash flow, from borrowing, or from diluting your ownership. When it's done, it may or may not work. You're going to have to concurrently keep your normal business, your normal team. Then you're going to have to pay to retrain them, or you're going to have to rehire.
Right.
And it's expensive, and it's dangerous, and uncertain, and it's speculative. But a 10x bottom line costs nothing. It's safe. It's easy. It's just shifting, and all that enhanced profitability, those profit explosions can be used to finance the bigger thing without worrying about the downside. But people don't think that way because they're taught 10x top line. That makes no sense.
Right. Right. Sometimes you can 10x the top line, and you can go further into the hole on the bottom line.
Exactly right.
I mean, we see that all the time.
I talk to people, this is another thing entrepreneurs don't understand. If you ask them, what's it cost you to service a buyer or a sale? What's the product cost you to sell? They will take their overhead and divide it by whatever number of products they have historically sold, and that's the number. But I'll say, no, that's not really the question. What does it cost you incrementally to sell one more? Not very much.
No.
So that's the reason why I think I said it in another discussion we had, that 2,000 corporations right now get 20% of their revenue from partnerships, but 40% of their profit.
Wow.
Because that incremental sale is, it doesn't matter if you're giving up a portion, it's newfound, it's bottom line.
Right.
Until you have to add a lot more overhead, it's just surplus profit.
Yeah, it's found.
And
money.
little and medium entrepreneurs don't think that way.
Right.
If I say, okay, we're going to set up all these partnerships and you're going to share revenue, they'll go, I can't do that. And I'll go, why? If you have a product or service you can create an infinite amount of, and you have underutilized capacity, and even if you don't, when you realize what does it cost to add, more sales, add more capacity, and as long as that cost is less than the incremental gain. By the way, I was going to tell you something in another interview, and I'll tell you now. I have a way you can buy somebody's company and pay them 2 or 3 times market and make out like a bandit.
Let's hear it.
So most people, when they're trying to buy a business that is on the downturn, they'll just negotiate like mad with it, and the owner's probably already in trouble. He or she may not even be drawing a salary. They got all these leases and stuff, and they're just sort of holding on for dear life.
Sure.
But if they have things that would benefit you, buyers, salespeople, products, services, brand, phone number, whatever it is,
database.
you can say to them, I'll tell you what, I will pay you. Let's say the business as it is on the downturn, it's worth $500,000.
Right.
I'll pay you $1.5 million, but I'll pay you at the rate of 50% of the profit I gain by taking over your assets, integrating them into my business, liquidating everything I can. If you've got a long-term lease, I'll subsidize the shortfall and we'll release it. We'll sell off your equipment, or if it's not, we'll figure out how to give it to somebody else and pay the shortfall.
Sure.
And we'll just take a loss on it, and I will pay you every month more for doing nothing than you're making now for trying to keep it alive. And when you consolidate it, all of a sudden, the economies of scale, and you've already got your fixed overhead. You get rid of their billing, you get rid of their this, you get rid of their that. It's great. We also, and this is a very edgy concept, we have many times gone to a industry to buy businesses, and the owner had a very lofty perception of what it was worth. But the owner started out being the everything. He or she was the salesperson. They were the manager. They were the buyer. They were the customer service. But then as they got successful, they went to their ivory tower.
Yeah.
And they don't even have a direct relationship
Right.
with the clients. And the ones that do
Right.
are their salespeople.
Yeah.
And you can hire the salespeople for a fraction. You can give them bonuses that are deferred and only paid if their book of business comes with them and stays.
Right.
And as long as they don't have a non-compete, you can buy 80 or 90% of the business for 3% of what you'd have to buy it for. That's
Wow.
interesting, isn't it?
That is very
And
interesting.
no one thinks that way.
Yeah, that's
Isn't
right.
that faster? In
It's both
COVID, we
interesting
did that
and
all day
scary.
long. We were trying to buy logistics companies, and they were just, I don't want to use the negative, vulgar word, but they were the D word.
Yeah.
And we said, okay, let's take a look at who really controls all the accounts, and they were the salespeople.
Yeah.
So we bought the salespeople,
Wow.
and most of them didn't have non-compete.
Right.
And they
Wow.
had relationships with all the clients.
Yep.
And we gave them a slightly higher base, but a huge bonus deferred for a year to make sure that their book stayed with them.
Sure.
But that bonus and the
Wow.
increase was a pittance of what we would have had to pay for the business
Of course.
itself.
Of course.
People don't think that way.
Wow.
I know.
That's
Interesting,
that's a
isn't it?
breakthrough right there.
Well, it's just
Yeah.
it's
just
thinking.
another way to look at your business.
Yeah, we were talking about this concept I'm evolving that I'm calling super logic. People think I'm a nonlinear thinker, and I don't believe that. I think I'm a super logical thinker. I just understand correlations, implications, and how to connect dots.
Right. With an emphasis on execution.
Absolutely.
Because
it's useless
as
without
you
it.
pointed out, so many people they know a lot of this stuff, and then if they don't know it, they learn it,
Absolutely.
and then they don't do it.
Touche.
And that's a shame.
Yes.
Yeah. Jay Abraham, once again, thank you so much for joining us.
You're
Really
very welcome.
Appreciate it, and I know
My
that,
pleasure.
as I said, I can't wait for the next series or the next
Thank
episode
you.
in our series. I know
Thank
that
you.
our viewers are getting so much out of this, so thank you.
You're very welcome.
Thanks.
Thanks for watching Strategic Edge with Jay Abraham, exclusively on ASBN.